premium Twitter account is required to create live broadcasts. Upgrade to premium. What is this crap? Did they cancel my? Oh shit. Okay, we'll have to worry about that later. I guess we're not live to X. I'm gonna have to upload it to X
Oh,
afterwards.
good.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the channel, guys. It's me, Colin, Project Constitution. Joining me tonight is my guest. He goes by Mr. Coombe. This is a guy who knows Andrew Wilson, spent a bunch of time with Andrew Wilson in his house, uh, got to know him intimately, and has some stories to tell. So we're just gonna kind of walk through. He doesn't have a short time. He's only gonna be here about a half hour, so it's gonna be a short stream. But he just has some information that he feels is relevant, I feel is relevant, that we want to expose with you guys. So without, oh wait a minute, why it's not? We're not even live yet. What the hell's going on here? Hold on one second. Okay, no, we are. Okay, we're good. Okay, so we're just not live on X. Okay, that's weird. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Coombe. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate that. All right. So I guess you want to just give us a little history of how you maybe how well I don't know you could begin where you want to begin. I'll let it that way because I don't want to say anything that's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah, so I met the Wilsons a few years back, and we became friends, sort of like work friends and everything like that. And then I ended up actually spending a lot of time at their place where they lived in the States, like a good 2 weeks or so. And then, yeah, I had some pretty crazy things revealed to me, and I saw the conversation coming up about Andrew's past recently, and to be honest, it was like a little bit alarming to me. And so I thought I would share something, and then I think that's since been deleted, but you picked up on it. And basically, this was about Andrew's past before the Crucible, and about his military past and everything. And there's a reason why he went off the face of the earth for a very long time. And there's a military background. Not really many people know much about that. Then he goes missing off the face of the earth. So I'm spending time at his place, and basically I found 6 passports in his name. And that was the first big red flag, because basically he told me that he'd never left the country before. And so I started to investigate that. And I then started to ask some questions. And then eventually one night we were drinking. We had a lot to drink, actually. And then he started to tell me a very detailed story. I don't know if any of the story is true, but it does seem to check out, because, going missing off the face of the earth for that long and then just coming back like that is kind of crazy. Into the Crucible just comes out of nowhere. So I don't know where you want me to kick it off.
I guess if you want to start, we could tell I guess a little bit about the military thing
Yeah,
because not a lot of people you said know about that.
yeah.
And I think he's actually denied that he was in the military, or was it? I think he denied he was a sniper in the military.
Well, it's actually a lot deeper than that, dude. Like, I don't know how much trouble this can get me in saying it, but what actually happened was, I think that the story that they give is a medical discharge. That's what happened. But really, the story here is that when he was younger, and this is why he goes missing off the face of the earth, and there's no sort of like recollection of him or online presence or anything, is because basically what happened was that he was recruited into a high-level multinational government program where he was used as a spy, and he was mind controlled. Do you know about MK Ultra?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's various different mind control things that happen, and they can basically turn these people into pretty much anything that they want in terms of like manipulation and coercion and these sorts of things. So he was recruited into this program, and then had an episode of amnesia. That's what he says anyway, an episode of amnesia. And then he was, from my understanding, basically used by the US government as a federal asset, and is currently being used by the US government as a federal asset to go into leftist spaces and destroy the left in all places. That's what he says anyway. His mission is to go into the left and to destroy them in all of their places. and I think that recently he's been used as a I guess a government op to go into to Candace Owens' space and to try and destroy that because she's like exposing the feds.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling as well, but it's good to hear somebody who actually knows firsthand and has spoke with him and actually can corroborate that. So, yeah, that's important. I think it's important for people to know that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, where do you want to go next? You want to talk about, I guess, let's get into the passports, I guess, how
Yeah.
that story came about.
Yeah. So basically, we were just playing games one night. I think we were playing like Rocket Ball. I think it was the ones where you drive the cars and everything, and then found the passports. And then I didn't really want to bring it up because it was a bit awkward. But then I brought it up, and basically we started having these drinks, and then he told me a bunch of stories about his past. And then I found out soon that he'd been deployed in a bunch of different overseas places, which was, like I didn't know that before. And I actually found, I don't know if you realize this, but I'm Australian. I found out that he'd been deployed to Australia and actually had an encounter with a drop bear. I don't know if you know about drop bears.
No.
Oh, it's a, I don't know, but not many people know about this outside of Australia, but basically drop bears are like a marsupial and they can like, Andrew tells tall stories, so I don't know if he's even telling the truth about this, but they drop out of the trees and they'll like fuck you up, dude. They'll like fondle you and everything. So like he got fondled by a drop
Oh,
bear.
really?
Yeah, yeah. So he told me about that, and I was like, well, he must know about Australia if like he's telling me about like an assault by a drop bear, So
Yeah.
that happened, and then apparently around Europe as well, he was found floating in the Mediterranean Sea by an Italian fisherman. This is what he told me: found floating in the Mediterranean Sea by an Italian fisherman. Had he was found with like a bank account details on him or something like this, like a bank account in Switzerland. So I mean, when we're talking about the Mediterranean and Australia and the USA and the CIA and Mossad and everything, it sounds like a multi-agency thing. And it's like, well, how does a guy like some sort of like smoking hillbilly from frickin' nowhere in America, who smokes cigarettes and swears at women, how does he actually become such a big internet star? And it's like, I think you and I both know. I've seen. I don't agree with everything that you guys say, but like, I think you guys know that like government ops are real.
Oh yeah, and the algorithm pushes certain people intentionally.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, there was that dude.
And that
Yeah, go on.
that's a wild story. So he told you that he, I guess, lost his memory or something and woke up in the middle of the river, or the water or whatever, found by fishermen
Yeah,
with some bank account
yeah,
attached to him or something. Switch bank account.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the story he told me. But then, from what I've been able to piece together, he was a part of a military program. The military program went south. There was some sort of like a falling out that happened, and then he obviously knew a lot before he was found in the sea. So then he was basically, I think he was like assaulted or something like that, and then lost a lot of his memory, had a bunch of amnesia problems, and then eventually he was like sort of recruited into this government program over in the United States. And because of the amnesia and everything, he didn't know much about like his past, but what he did know was still the skills that he'd learnt in like manipulation and basically like CIA techniques and everything. And he was able to deploy all of those techniques, all of those military techniques into like the crucible, whatever that is, and basically just work for the government to be like a I guess an attack dog of sorts.
Yeah, that sounds very MK Ultra like.
Yeah.
And that also, like, that's the same thing that, I don't know what your position is. It really doesn't matter, but that's kind of what we think, about Erica Kirk as well. That she was an MK Ultra style asset.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So the passports now, you said, so 5 passports you saw, huh?
Yeah. 6 passports. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's definitely strange, especially you're saying when you confronted him about it. Tell us when you could how was his behavior when you confronted him about it? Was he like weird about it or?
Well, it was after a bunch of drinks, and he has the sort of ability to, I guess, tell tall stories, if you will. So We'd had a few drinks, and I think he just let his pride get in the way a little bit, and he wanted to tell his really cool story. But before he tried to hide it from me, so it didn't really take me long, to be honest. Like when I confronted him about it, he pretty much like told me within a few minutes just about what had happened, and especially about the deployments and about how he got fondled by a drop bear in Australia and all of these crazy stories in the Mediterranean and everything. So didn't take me too long. His defense came down pretty quick. It was a little bit awkward after in the weeks following because I think that he probably knew that he'd told me too much. But yeah, so it didn't take me too long.
Okay, yeah, because you said he was drinking at the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed,
Now,
but he drinks and smokes and swears at women.
yeah. Okay, so as far as his drinking goes, do you know if he's like an alcoholic? Does he have like a problem? Do you know of, or is he like does he drink every day, or is it something that he drinks occasionally with buddies, or?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that really, but what I do know is that when no one's looking, he smokes menthol cigarettes. So he tries to act like he smokes like normal cigarettes, but then when no one's looking, he smokes menthol cigarettes. And I found that a weird detail, like a weird thing to do.
Yeah, why hide that? That is
Yeah.
such a strange detail to hide.
Yeah.
He's a strange guy altogether, though. I mean, I remember the first time I kind of had a back and forth with him. I mean, he like lost it. Like he went maniacal. Like he clearly was drinking that night.
It's probably from the head
And
trauma, dude. It's probably from the amnesia because I don't know if you noticed yesterday or like the other day in the debate. And look, we're not gonna talk about the debate, but like, look, his leg shaking like that. That's because
yeah.
that's from the government programming. Like that's where it comes from. All that twitching and shaking and everything like that.
Okay. Yeah. He clearly was nervous and agitated or whatever. Um. Yeah. So like I said, the first time I had an interaction with him, he actually sent a video or posted a video like laughing maniacally. Really weird. Really weird. Like yeah, he's a strange guy, man. Really strange guy.
Yeah. And then there was another thing that I found, dude. Um, I don't even know how to say this to be honest, but like I was in the living room one day, and basically I was walking around, and then it was maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was thinking, you know, afternoon. So I found my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna get some afternoon delight. Mama always said if it's right, while waiting till the middle of a cold dark night. Sky rockets in flight, Project Constitution. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight.
Yeah.
Afternoon delight.
Good one.
Afternoon delight. Project Constitution, brother. How did you not know? Did you do a basic, cursory little bit of research, my friend?
You wouldn't give me anything.
Thinking
I
of it's got me
tried.
working up an appetite, getting forward to a little afternoon delight. Oh, he's one of my best friends. I am currently live streaming. I've been shit posting about it all week. Project Constitution, walk me through how you do all of this research, my friend. Please, I'd love to know it.
Yeah, well,
Thinking of you's got me working up an appetite, looking forward
okay.
to a
So,
little afternoon delight. Mama.
all right. I'm not even going to play their games. Like I said, he's a loser. I don't want anything to do with that. I do have.
We did it, boys. We did it. Send me your money. Send me your money right now. Oh.
Holy shit, boys, we did it. Find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna get some afternoon delight. Mama always said if it's right, while waiting till the middle of a cold dark night. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight. I am legitimately gobsmacked that worked, guys. I am legitimately gobsmacked that worked. I've been planning this for like a week or so. So let me fill you guys in on the story here of what just happened. So Project Constitution picked up on my story that I had put on X about Andrew Wilson's past. I put in a whole describing story about the plot of the Bourne Identity, okay? And said that Andrew had suffered this amnesia, was found by an Italian fisherman with a bank account in Zurich, and then he was recruited into a high-level government program. He messages me and says, do you want to come on stream? And I'm thinking, okay, this has to be some sort of 4D chess going on. They have to be trying to troll me somehow. But then I thought to myself, maybe this guy is that stupid and he does that little research that essentially he actually wants to talk to me about this story that I've told on X. So I went with it. And I'm messaging the Wilsons and I'm thinking, okay, guys, this is what we're going to do here. I'm messaging my team and I'm like, all right, we've got this thing going on. It could be a troll, but if not, I'll just go on and destroy this guy on stream. We get on here today, guys, and to my shock, to my absolute shock, he actually comes in, introduces me as Mr. Coombe, and then goes about letting me tell my story about how Andrew Wilson was recruited into a high-level government program when he was younger, suffered from amnesia, and had all of the rhetorical skills to go, to go and destroy the left everywhere, and is being used as an MK Ultra asset to destroy Candace Owens' Fed slot movement. And it worked. Ladies and gentlemen, troll of the century complete. I cannot believe, can you imagine how little research he did? Andrew is literally one of my best friends. I've been shitposting about it all week. I've done many live streams about it all week, okay? And he didn't do enough research to basically get that out. Oh. Okay, let's get into some super chats here, guys. Then we're going to review culture. But that will go down in the archives, ladies and gents. All right, 20 from Moorhead comes in with laughing face. JD says for 5, just paid my tab at the steakhouse to watch this. Soft drink, no alcohol. Euthanasia says, well worth the price of admission. Boomer Slayer for 5 said, should have used your tough American accent. I should have. Mr. E comes in and says, for the great entertainment. Thank you, sir. Riot says, we should invade the conspiracy space by flooding the zone. Is that discouraged or no? The Jetsanol says, this is for the drop bears. Column Rack says, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. The Tome says, Project Lynch situation is really freaking stupid, huh? Good job, Jake. I think we've all realized that. And that's done now, guys. He's done. Bye-bye, Project Constitution. The Single Dads Club says, Mr. Coombe for the W. Goat Nipples says for 20, grift well earned, my friend. No basic research. Thank you for the 20. Pix Paradox comes in with a 50. Says, beautiful execution. Thank you for the 50, my friend. 5 from Chip Houston says, well done, sir, 07. 50 from Adrian says, I'm on the beach here in Texas. Glance and this just happened. How can I not contribute to the dono after that? Effing great Lord Jake. Thank you, guys. Guys, we've got to get the grift up today. I cannot believe that I pulled that off. Baldur's Guard, Rach comes in and says, Jake, you legend, I recorded his live chat because they are fully buying in. They really thought they had bombshell news and were demanding Andrew be investigated. We're gonna replay it in just a second, guys. I want to see his chubby little face again. Mr. Coombe was a very fitting name. Blaine. Billy says, I can't afford this, but well deserved. Thank you, sir. Proctologist says, I'm not even going to play the game. Full on.
Oh, level out, come on!
I can't believe it. Nicholas comes in and says, you, sir, are amazing. I wish we could all start doing this. Who else is up for flooding the zone? Peace be with you. Weebez built the pyramids and shit says, he really fell for that. That was real. Holy crap. What an effing loser, bro. Salute to you. Project VPod says, Jake, is the best singing voice ever. Oh, dear. That was fun. Will you send this over to AW to watch? I've got a feeling he was watching. Sidorshuk with a massive 200. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that generous dono. Says, can't stay, but here's for whatever that was. It was hilarious. Yes, it was an all-time troll, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it was. Spit out my drink laughing and scared my puppy when I heard Afternoon Delight. Curtin Christian says, I don't care who you are. That's funny right there. Bro, first time ever in history. Cheers from Vienna. Thank you very much. All right, guys, we're going to replay it really quickly. I have to see it again. I have to see it again. I have to see it again.
Fisherman had he was found with like a bank account, thing like that.
Okay, yeah, he clearly was nervous and agitated or whatever. Yeah, so like I said, the first time I had an interaction with him, he actually sent a video or posted a video like laughing maniacally. Really weird. Like, yeah, he's a strange guy, man. Really strange guy.
Yeah. And then there was another thing that I found, dude. I don't even know how to say this, to be honest, but like I was in the living room one day and basically I was walking around and then it was maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was thinking, afternoon. So I found my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna get some afternoon delight. Mama always said if it's right, while waiting till the middle of a cold dark night. Skyrockets in flight, Project Constitution. Skyrockets in flight, afternoon delight.
Yeah.
Afternoon delight.
Good one.
Afternoon delight. Project Constitution, brother. How did you not know? Did you do a basic, cursory, little bit of research, my friend?
You wouldn't give me anything.
Picking
I
up,
tried.
he's got me working up an appetite, getting forward to a little afternoon delight.
You're welcome, ladies and gents. You're welcome. Anyway, now that that's done. Now that that's done, ladies and gentlemen, oh gosh, I can't wait to see his chat and everything. They bought it. They fully bought it. This is bombshell news. Someone goes, he has an ex-wife? He got fondled by who now? Skyrockets in flight, afternoon delight. Okay. His little face. All right, we have to move on.
Do you know any
guys? We have to move on now. Eventually, you've got to move on. We had this. Candy Can. Reposting the Kuma Gremlin. Who can? The Candy Can can. Okay? So, The Kuma Gremlin over here had a reaction. Now, you know that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel when you are reposting the Kuma Gremlin, okay? You know you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel when you are reposting the Kuma Gremlin. He had a reaction. Now, why is she reposting? Like, who in their right mind would repost Destiny like that?
Do you know any of the charges he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like that's.
Oh my
can you name
gosh,
one?
Destiny
Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not
Is
following
that
the
it?
case.
That's the.
I mean, like, that's a fair thing to say.
The question. You're just not
but, I mean,
following it enough.
It seems pretty like if you're going to engage, you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty. I just think that you should. Like,
All right.
Can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge
counter.
that he's?
You can really. Yeah, no, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play
Yeah.
clips out of context,
Yeah,
put me
yeah.
in the hot seat. So please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name,
7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You
Go
name
ahead.
you name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
It would be more qualified, probably, right? And I don't know if even for this particular one would, yeah.
Doesn't even. This is like.
Name all 7.
And I.
Can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure. You don't have to.
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't
Name
have to put
'em.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
I'll
that.
name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name 'em.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay,
a death
so
sentence in the
murder.
state of No,
Next.
that's
It's going to
not.
be a qualifier, yeah.
That is literally not murder.
Okay,
And so
next.
just for people, no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters.
Like, if she can even get like 5 of them, it looks
Ew.
so bad. Why would he feel confident? She asked the question. Why would he think that she would ask a question like that she wouldn't be able to answer? Because that's the thing that Andrew would do.
Yeah.
Maybe she can't though, because she is acting a little bit. She seems like she's not trying to answer the question. But if she can name even 5 of them, oh no.
And shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrow.
Can you believe that, guys? Sharing the Kuma Gremlin. Unfreaking believable. How everyone felt. Really? Did everyone feel like they were high on Adderall? And get rid of my hat, guys. I don't need my disguise anymore. Fix up there, though. Oh, gosh. Bed hair. Maybe the hat stays on. Maybe the hat stays on. All right. I mean, yeah, that tells the whole story, guys. This guy, Kenny Koa the Great, says Tyler Robinson's parents, it looked like Tyler. Lance Twiggs, it definitely looks like Tyler. Tyler Robinson, it wasn't me. Look at the picture from the surveillance. Candace Owens, that's 100% not Tyler. September the 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother expressed concerns to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. They reported that when his wife showed them the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news. He agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. So everybody but Candace. And look, even if you did have some sort of a questions about this, to say that it is 0% him, 0%, that's quite the statement. Now, the last day or so, I've been going around X and YouTube and everything, and I've just basically been looking at all of the different reactions to it. And I've been actually kind of pleasantly surprised in a way with a lot of people's reactions, because one of the dominating narratives here is evidence, because we're looking at a debate, and the debate is not about like gotcha moments or anything like that. The debate is about evidence. And so a lot of people are actually looking past it and seeing through the clips. And the size of Candace Owens' audience compared to the size of Andrew's audience, at least like 20 times bigger. So this would suggest that a lot of people, obviously they're going to be Candace no matter what, on X and all these sorts of places. They're going into the polls and everything, voting for Candace, but in some cases he's getting up to like 40% of the votes. And considering the audience size, like that actually says a lot to me. You'd never expect him to win an X poll. X polls would be completely disingenuous. And then during the PBD podcast, apparently he was winning all of the polls in the actual YouTube live from like subject to subject, topic to topic. So interesting stuff. Where are we at on the super chats? N. Burns says 50 and says, executed perfectly. Don't think I've ever seen a better troll, sir. 07. Thank you very much, my friend. Eiley says, you earned it for the drop bears and menthols. The Single Dads Club says for 10, he's getting wrecked in his live stream. Good. Good. Joining late, it was brave of you to corroborate Wilson's military background. Look, guys, here's the thing I wanted to get out of that. Project Constitution is a flagrant liar. I've been watching him for months and months, just spreading absolute and utter bullshit. And normally I genuinely wouldn't go into that sort of thing because I was like, yeah, these guys will have something up their sleeve. But I was like, this guy, I think that he actually does that little research that he will literally just post anything and say, wow, this is like a big expose of Andrew Wilson. So he did no research into me whatsoever. It would have literally taken him 5 minutes to realize that I was definitely going to troll him. 5 minutes. But he did no research whatsoever. That has to be one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my entire life. And then he gets hit with the afternoon delight. If anyone saw the debate, it was not Candace's turn to ask questions. She had her time already. Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. That's how cross-exam works. Drop bears, that shit's ridiculous. Dude is lost. 10 from Blaine says, Andrew lost because he paid to debate low IQ tards. Exactly, Blaine. It is a good litmus test of IQ, and I've sort of seen this permeating, which is good, because it is true in terms of like the litmus test here. Less than 80 IQ thinks Candace won. Above 80 IQ thinks Andrew won. Now, I have seen I've looked at a bunch of different reviews, and look, all of the stands are all obviously going to say the same thing. Oh my gosh, she cooked. Look at this moment. She said, I can't explain it to you, or like I can't help you. I can explain it to you. I can't understand it for you, or something. Wow, Black Queen cooked. Really? Okay. Wow, really, really cooked there. And then the charges moment at the end, irrelevant sort of stuff. But if you're actually a high IQ person and you're actually able to look at debates and understand what's going on, then you realize that one side had evidence for their claims, and then one side had literally, quite literally zero evidence for anything. So, I mean, the best steel man that I could give for the other side was probably, like, I watched JF Gariepi do a live stream on it. I listened to the whole thing. I thought he was very charitable to Candace, but he was basically saying that Candace was more like engaged with the audience. She was appealing to emotion more. And not to say this stuff isn't important, because it is important. Like, you want to be able to engage and appeal to the emotion of the audience and make them feel things and everything. But if you're coming into the debate with a Candace Owens, for example, that's basically her whole MO. So if you try and like match her with that and be like, well, I'm going to make the audience feel more than her. I'm going to make the audience feel more warm and fuzzies than her. And I'm going to really engage with the camera and do the emotional thing. You're probably not going to beat her at that game, because that is her world, essentially. So she did a lot of that. And yeah, people were saying, well, she was much better at actually connecting with the audience, making herself feel like she's connected to the case and everything. Sure. But like, that would be a foolish strategy to come into the debate and try and be like, well, I'm going to look like I care more than her, because, you know, that's sort of like her MO, her world. Andrew has to come in and play to his strength, which is the facts, and showing that there's really no evidence on her side. So that was probably, of all of the reviews that I've seen saying that Candace won, that was probably like the best one that I've seen. But even then, I thought like I would pretty much disagree with all of the takes, really. It is important to make people feel things in debates. It's like not saying that it's not important, but it's certainly not the sort of be-all and end-all. That's for sure. Now, this is what I was talking about before with the polls and everything. Like, considering the size of the audiences for an X poll, I actually think that says a lot more about Andrew's credibility here. Viva Fry put together a bit of a collage of moments that we can watch.
Things I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk, and we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe gonna, like, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no. How do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source, an anonymous source, of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
Do you find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable at all. It's just a source.
I'm just doing what the prosecution
What you're doing is
did.
a cool story.
It's not cool. Well, you must have hated.
Mike, guys. Mike good.
You must have hated watching the preliminary hearing. They did not put this on as evidence. Brian Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything?
They're responding to the state's
I'm
evidence.
asking, are they allowed to present anything?
They are allowed to say...
Like if there was a conspiracy that they could prove right then and there, would they present that in one of these hearings?
No, it wouldn't be the right time for that.
I disagree. I think
It's
that
not a
they,
disagreement.
I think that they not only could do it, but they would do it. In fact, when I talked in depth with my attorney, they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage of the hearing is the state is saying we have enough evidence that we think this needs to go forth to trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward, right? And okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state that says, we find this filing to be defective in and of itself. We don't even have to defend ourselves because you, the state, have enough. You know what the laws are on the books. This filing this filing is defective, and you should get rid of these charges because they don't make sense based on what you can decide based on a law on the books. So then that's why they then file the dismissal. Right. So in the dismissal, what they're doing is they are engaging, and this is what was widely misinterpreted.
Well, yeah, they're engaging as though as it's a hypothetical. If this is hypothetically true, then
so
X.
they're saying all of these charges.
I'm not disputing any of that.
So that's what you're asking. Why you're saying could they just put
what I'm asking specifically is like who could shut parents up who are like, no way, there's no possible. This never happened. This is ridiculous. They would be shouting it on CNN. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that that's quite ridiculous. Direct question, super easy. Was Lance Twiggs' DNA on the rifle as far as you know?
We can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
Now, I would love to hear from the candy stands because I think we do still have a lot of them in the chat. And if anybody can give me the evidence here, or what was presented, the candy stands can. So any candy stands in the chat here, if you'd like to let me know, because, you know, like the purpose of the debate here was one side had to argue that it's overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, and the other side had to argue that it's overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is a patsy set up by the United States government, okay? Now, all of the various different theories that have been put out there are all a part of Candace Owens' big plan. It's to do with the timeline, it's to do with TPUSA and Erica Kirk, and it's to do with Israel, and it's to do with France and all these sorts of things. But there was actually never a single shred of evidence that was presented for any of these things. So I do wonder, can somebody just give me a steel man of the cope here? Like, what did they think Candace Owens won on? I'd be very curious to know. What are the points? Is it just clips, or is it just vibes and feels, or what are the points that they think that she actually won on? If anybody knows, let me know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were on.
So that would be no as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know for certain.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say that for certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say,
I think that all of this stuff was basically what they were sort of angling towards as the big wins. It's all like the "you're not my dad" energy sort of stuff. I know the clip is a little bit loud, this one, but I'll go to 100 on my volume.
You're just going to come up against the wall. I'm familiar with this debate strategy.
But I am just
yes or no, yes
you.
or no, yes or no. We're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still definitely debating. This is still.
No, it's not a debate.
This is
now
inclined
this
to
is
your,
you saying I want to probe things that sit outside of the evidence. I actually already addressed this. You asked me. You're not going to go like you're sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
So
let's
you
talk
can
about
have a conversation as we've agreed to.
Let's talk about the Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Was the Foreign Legion, do you believe, trying to kill you?
Yes, that's why I reported it to the correct officials in government. That's what I was told, and I handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office.
What's your best piece of evidence for that?
Well, it was
positive evidence.
It was told to me.
This was easily the most savage moment of the entire debate, is the positive evidence part. And like I said before, guys, we're not going to be totally uncharitable here. Like, I'm going to give some advice to perhaps the others who want to get into the ring, because we do want to see that. We do want to see them getting into the ring and actually debating about these sorts of things. In the future, if you do want to come and debate this sort of thing, then when you say positive evidence, you know, you might want to just say, no, I don't have any positive evidence. This is speculation, and I'm doing dot connecting of circumstantial evidence. Okay? If any Candy stands out there, that's what you needed. She needed to basically be a matador there and say, no, I don't have any positive evidence. But what I'm doing is I'm speculating, right? I'm speculating based on other circumstantial bits of evidence because I remain unconvinced by the official narrative. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my story together based on the little bits of circumstantial evidence that I have. But her pride got in the way there. Her pride totally got in the way. Where are we? For the troll, says Grimnack. Thank you very much. Andrew Wilson in the chat here. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. Laughs, breathes, bro, laughs. I mean, we hit all the markers, didn't we? We've got afternoon delight, we've got menthol cigarettes, and we've got drop bears. I hit the trifecta. And we've got his chubby little face. We've got his chubby little face in the reveal, looking so disappointed. Oh. It's good to be on the right side, guys. It's good to be on the right side, I tell you what. Crimson King says for 5, I rewatched it today and Andrew did a lot better than what people are saying. We Bez built the pyramids and shit. Said I can tell Andrew was a little bit was nervous a little bit, as anyone would have been in her home. If he would have known the charges, he would have made her look dumb. Yeah, but it's not really relevant. It's not really like pertinent to the debate. Like, you can just like he would have been able to just say, no, I don't know any of them. What does that prove? You know, like in hindsight, if he just said, and I don't know exactly what the charges are, but like what does that prove? What are you trying to show here? And then she didn't appeal to emotion. I care so much. I care. Well, the debate isn't about who cares more about it and who loves Charlie more or anything like that. The debate is about what evidence you have for your claims. She didn't win no points, just that one dumb thing about the charges. Just so happens her low IQ fans will only see that, but he demolished her in debate. Yeah. Turn up your mic volume. I think we're good with the mic volume now, but yeah, thank you. This is just a particularly loud clip. Yeah, very loud clip. All right, so we had Alex Jones as well. I wanted to cover Alex Jones because, I mean, look, let's just be honest here, guys. We're looking at the totality of the review of the reactions here, okay? And let me just say, I'm pretty confident with who's on our side. If you've got Andrew, Rachel, Crowder, Fuentes, other people who I think are smart, like Moderate Case, for example, a lot of these people who have very good track record in these situations, and a lot of people who have a lot of staying power as well in this movement, then they kind of know what's up. So I'm confident with that. It doesn't tell you everything. But then on the other side, we've got Alex Jones might be one of the stronger people on the other side, but then you've got the likes of Sneeko on the other side and Ian Carroll and all of these people. So it wouldn't fill me with confidence if I was on that side to look to my left and my right. Beards and Beardsley is another one who's on our side of things. We have a strong army here. Alex Jones, I want to get into his reaction to this all, because he does two different reactions, and I find it interesting because his initial one is saying that Candace won decisively, and I haven't actually listened to it. I'm just keen to hear what his logic is.
It's Friday night. I've already posted one video about the Candace Owens debate with Andrew Wilson, and some people get confused. They go, "You've criticized Candace, and now you're against UPUSA." I'm not. Some of the theories she put out, some of the guests she had on were full of crap. A lot of the stuff she's covered is important and real. I go look at each piece of it and just report what I find. Okay? It's that simple. And she won this debate hands down. And the fact is, the public doesn't believe the official story. The FBI director ordered a shutdown of foreign involvement. That's confirmed. That's not debated. And so you can't believe anything.
So if you guys will remember, Andrew went on Alex Jones show and basically wrecked Rex. He wrecked Rex, Alex Jones's son, a few months back, I think it was, and it was pretty brutal. Rex didn't look good, and he was trying to cope after it and everything. So I think that maybe Alex Jones is doing this out of some sort of a hatred because Andrew went on and wrecked his son. But I don't understand what the logic is here. He's saying that he thinks that Andrew Wilson lost and that Candace won decisively because the public still doesn't believe the narrative. Is that the logic?
When you know that, and
we understand that she's still going to have a bigger audience for sure. So
it's a good thing to question things like this. That means question Candace, question her theories, question other people's. I'm very clear I don't think TPUSA killed him. I'm very clear I don't think that Erica Kirk was involved. But the official story is not true. That video they released of him running up there in 30 seconds, assembling a rifle and putting the scope on, it works perfectly. That's all impossible with telescopic scopes. Okay? So we have an FBI cover-up. This is going on, and it's not bad to question it. And I see a whole...
Yeah, no one ever said that it was bad to question it, but maybe there's some more substance here.
Bunch of the commenters, oh, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're not at the cool Howard Lutnick, Jeffrey Epstein, Trump table. I don't want to be MAGA. I'm 1776. We created the wave Trump rode in on. I just cover facts. I call balls and strikes. So all you neocons attacking me, you're losing, just like you've been proven wrong on the Iran war. Just like you've been proven wrong on everything. So you sit there and you go along with all the Israeli propaganda and all the rest of it. That's fine with me. I'm just going to look at the issues and call balls and strikes. That's what I do.
Do you look at the debate and call balls and strikes, or this is quite an interesting take here? I want to hear what she won on exactly.
And the official story of Charlie Kirk is not true. The official story at every...
Big shout out to your mum's legs. We love your mum's legs. They're the best. Gifted 20 Rattlesnake TV memberships. That's 20 paws out there who get a membership because of your mum's legs. Unbelievable. Thank you.
Level has fallen apart, and it's a giant fiasco. And it's emblematic of a system that's lost the trust of the people. And that's it.
Look, that's actually, yeah, not the worst point in the world. Like, when you think about it, like, COVID was something that really messed with people's ability to be able to trust authority, right? To be able to trust the government and everything. And, you know, I was there, I was in Australia, that's how I got started with politics. That's how I got started with any of this sort of stuff, is through COVID. And it made me question absolutely everything. So a lot of people have been doing that ever since. And I think that that's definitely a healthy instinct to have, is to just question the government, question official narratives, all of these sorts of things. But then it becomes kind of difficult to talk to people who just can never believe anything. Like, I had this conversation the other day with somebody, and they basically just said, well, you know, I just can never believe anything that the government ever says. Like, what have they ever done right? And I'm like, look, I know that the government does a lot wrong, and you look at COVID and everything, and you've been lied to, and establishment definitely lies to you and everything. But, you know, in terms of a murder case, like, people get put away for murder all the time. So we have to have some sort of like a grounding in reality here. Like, we don't want to just burn everything down in all of the institutions. Like, we've, over the last few thousand years, we've been doing a half decent job to develop institutions in the Western world. And that's kind of like what makes our society superior. You know, common law, human rights, these sorts of things, human dignity, the fact that people are like innocent until proven guilty. And like, you go to other countries, for example, like where I am right now in Southeast Asia, people are guilty until proven innocent, and they'll be in a prison cell basically for 5 or 6 years until they eventually get a trial if they're lucky. There's no such thing as human rights. They don't even get fed and everything. But in the West, you do have those sorts of things. You do have a framework that is workable, at least. So when I speak to people who are like, well, you know, I can never accept this because it came from the government, it's just sort of like a well-poisoning fallacy. And then if that's your attitude with it, then your position just becomes unfalsifiable, right? So if I can do nothing to prove to you that in this particular instance that this is the correct, that the theory here is correct despite the source of it, then you can't really talk to those sorts of people. So like all this to say though, like I understand Alex Jones's point here about how people are much more inclined towards questioning authority and questioning government narratives and all these sorts of things, for sure. And COVID really like did that to people. But there is a line that I think that people should like be careful not to go off the deep end, right? Where you cannot believe anything that you hear. It's quite a chaotic sort of place to be in. I think it's good to basically just look at information and maybe try and discern the information for yourself. Does this look real to me? Does it look fake to me? If it looks fake to you, sure. Question it all you want.
Don't be mad at me because I understand the facts. And don't be mad at the vast majority of people that don't buy any of this crap when Trump says there's no inflation and there's no affordability problem, when prices are up 20+% in the last few years. And we know we inherited from Biden. It doesn't matter. Don't say it doesn't exist. Stop gaslighting us. So to all of you telling me not to cover this, I'm going to go on air tomorrow at noon Central. I'm going to do a 3-hour live show. I had a bunch of other big topics I'm going to cover. But because you don't want me to cover this, I'm going to look at the anomalies and the stuff that proves it's a cover-up. We don't know exactly what's happened. We know the official story's not true. And I'm going to look at this debate tomorrow at noon tomorrow, Central, at Real Alex Jones on X and rumble.com/Alex Jones Live, and at our news site, alexjoneslive.com. So your attempts to make me shut up aren't going to work. Candace won this debate. I mean, it was so many cases, but I posted in the video below that I'll post this on top of. I mean, the guy she's debating that I debated last week, he's pro-Iran war.
He's not, though. So if you debated him last week and you think he's pro-Iran war, then you must not have been listening very hard, Alex.
She's like, oh, tell me the charges. I don't know the charges against Tyler Robinson. He's like, well, you tell me. She lists them all perfectly in order in the way they were charged. He goes, oh, somebody told you on your phone, though the phone's not in her hand, she's on camera, and she pulls out of her purse and hands it to Patrick Ben David. That is a kill shot Perry Mason moment.
It's a real shame to see Alex Jones going with this line, because this is actually quite embarrassing, to be honest. How is that a kill shot? Alex, do you know what the debate was about? The debate wasn't about who could name the charges better, okay? I don't know how you'd think that was a kill shot. Somebody who's provided no evidence for their theories at all throughout the entire course of the debate then does a kill shot at, yeah. But look, Alex Jones, rhetorically very gifted, good entertainer and everything. He's been funny to listen to over the years and everything, right? Not saying that I hate Alex Jones or anything like that, but here, this just shows a fundamental lack of discernment.
You guys are like, no, it's not. You guys.
Andrew wrecked his son, though. So what are you going to do? You got to come to bat for the family.
That live in delusional land, you're the vast minority. People see through you. And everybody that asks, why is there such a cover of asking questions? That makes people ask more questions. So just keep trying to tell us to shut up and see how it works out for you.
He did another follow-up video here somewhere. He had to get back in the car and do another one. This is why. So now he says this is why Candace Owens was the winner of yesterday's Charlie Kirk assassination debate.
Last night I posted a short video here on X Alex Jones where I stated my opinion that Candace Owens won that debate on the anomalies and questioning the Charlie Kirk assassination official story. That doesn't mean I endorse every theory she's looked at or every guest she's had on. And so a lot of people got mad at me saying, oh, so you believe in this, you believe in that. No, I just simply thought overall she won the debate. Now, let's be clear. We know the FBI had ordered a cover-up of any foreign involvement, and they found connections to that, and that's been confirmed, and I broke that 6-7 days after Charlie was murdered last year, 11 months ago. Then you've got them saying he put together the 30-06 and put a scope on it, and that he was then able to shoot Charlie in the neck. That's not how telescopic scopes work. It takes time to then sight them in, and at least 10 rounds of ammo in general to dial it in. That's just a known fact. And then it goes on from there. The grand jury was basically blocked, and they used a very rare thing, it's only in Utah, where they had the prosecutors basically indict. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes on and on and on. And I've talked to some of the family, and I've heard recordings of the family saying, no, we don't believe the official story, but we're intimidated and scared. I've aired some of the audio on my show. So let's be clear, this is a black hole, and I don't know what really happened, and I don't think TPUSA, I don't think his long-term friends that I know would be involved in a giant, conspiracy. That's not how these work. Could the government or Israel or the Democrats send in, a hitman and then have Tyler Robinson there as a patsy? Absolutely. That's how that stuff works. If you want to know how setups for things like this work, watch Mark Wahlberg's movie. Is it Sniper? Yeah, it's Sniper. It came out like 10, 12 years ago. It's excellent. And there's a lot of real parallel stories just like that, how they set people up. So I don't buy the Fort Huachuca stuff or any of that. There's been a lot of stuff I've been critical of with Candace Owens. But I just watched the debate. I watched most of it after I got off the air. And I just thought that the other guy used a bunch of really debate tactics, appeal to emotion.
What? What? This is why Alex Jones is not a debater, guys. Yeah. Look, Alex Jones is a phenomenal broadcaster. You have to give flowers where flowers are due, okay? He's a phenomenal broadcaster and a phenomenal entertainer, and he always has been. His ability to be able to capture an audience, to hold an audience over a long period of time, have staying power, occasionally get things right, to be able to look back on and be like, wow, like his 9/11 claims, and back in the day when he went into Bohemian Grove and all these sorts of things. Great. And he's got the energy, he's a great broadcaster and everything, but he's never been a good debater. And this kind of shows that he doesn't really understand what he's talking about here in terms of the debate. If he can look at that debate and say that Andrew was the one doing appeals to emotion, that was quite literally Candace Owens' whole entire strategy, was appeals to emotion. She was just trying to do like the clapback queen thing the whole time and say how she's more connected to the case and she cares more and everything without any substantial evidence whatsoever. So that's kind of wild. Where are we at in Super Chats is the real question. Wood says, my take on it was she's like a team that was down 7 points but scored 1 goal in the last 30 seconds of the game. They celebrate like it's a win. Yeah, it's a pretty good call. Authentically Kennedy says, is Candace saying she wants to call Andrew daddy? I'm not sure about that. AD says, leading up to the debate, Andrew stated that evidence is so overwhelming that it boggles the mind that anybody can still be pushing the Tyler didn't do it narrative. But in the debate, admitted he was only 75 to 85% sure. Yeah, look, if I were him, I would have pushed that number up a little bit. I would have been in the 90s. I think that he was maybe trying to be extra charitable and extra cautious about making outlandish claims. But if this is the criticism, though, and if you're doing a compare the pair here, she said she's 0% sure that it was Tyler Robinson, okay? So he was a little bit conservative in his estimate, for sure. Like, he could have probably bumped it up into the 90s somewhere. But he did define it at the start, what it means. Means that he's convinced by it. And then she said that she was 0% sure. And then proceeded to give no evidence. So, like a blatant win there, but blatant win there for Andrew, but thank you for the 20. Michael says, I'm not sure what would convince Candyland. Her argument about the text being fabricated is disproven by TC, subpoenas and chain of custody. And Celebrite will do a file dump of the phone, pull locations, text, app data, etc. on top of geo requests from app and phone carrier. Yeah, exactly. I think that they would have access to all of this, all of the cellular data. They'd be able to do the geolocation and everything. All of that is available within the iPhones. This debate will age well for AW, says Nat. It will be interesting to see what happens to Candace, her fans, simps, and haters like Jake Shields. They think they'll need to defend their positions but won't be able to yet. Interesting by Jake Shields yesterday posted that he got the ick from Andrew. He was saying he now understands what people mean by the ick. And Andrew reposted it saying that might be the gayest thing that a man has ever said on X, and it's hard to deny that. SGT Stoic says, so Jake, you're not going to want to hear this, but what I'm looking at is Star Trek Next Generation upset that Deep Space Nine is getting more views. The Podfather 3, essentially. I'm not sure I entirely understand that, but thank you for the 20. The framing is unfortunate, says Scopath. Acting like this was about Tyler Robinson and not her dipshit theories is just revisionist history. Very true. Ad says Andrew claimed overwhelming evidence and then admitted 75% sure. In the US legal framework, 75% probably doesn't qualify as overwhelming evidence. I'm not really sure what does qualify. I don't think that you can quantify it with a number. But the thing is, guys, is the distinction that people like Alex Jones can't really understand is that none of us have a problem with people picking apart the official narrative. If you don't believe that Tyler Robinson's the killer, I mean, go for it until you go blue in the face. Pick apart the narrative, stream about it every day. We don't care. What we care about is the positive evidence of the other claims that are being made, of which there are many. So I'm not entirely convinced that it was Tyler Robinson. I think that's definitely the most likely theory. And the other theories that have been circulated don't seem to have any evidence. So that seems like definitely the most likely theory at the moment. But I'd definitely be open to new information if there was some sort of like a broader cover-up or a plot and there's new evidence that comes out and we realize that, then I'd 100% be open to it. So, Dave, did you see an X post from Jake Shields yesterday? He said that Wilson's opening statement was sent from a certain country. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jake Shields said that Andrew was doing Israel talking points. So, yeah, I mean, it becomes... Like, you can be very critical of Israel, of Zionism and everything. I'm as critical as the next man about all this sort of stuff. But, like, at some point, it becomes a bit of a mental illness where you've put everything through that lens. Dragon Fist says for 20, Alex is clearly mad because of what happened with Andrew and Rex. Candace had nothing. Good to see Dragon Fist. Yeah, I think that there is a little bit of that going on for sure. Let's carry on, though, with what else Alex said.
So-called gotchas that really blew up in his face. Especially the one where he, didn't know any of the charges.
Just give me 1 second here, guys.
And then, murder's murder. Well, in the definition, in common language it is, but not manslaughter or then murder. And then you've got, depending on the state or federal statutes, murder one, premeditated. That's what he got there. It's just the Utah term that they have for it is aggravated murder. That means premeditated, pre-planned. That's the death penalty. That's conspiracy. Okay. Utah term. So it is aggravated murder. A lot of ignorance here. A lot of people not understanding basic stuff. I'll be on the air today at noon. I wanted to get Lionel, who I really like, former prosecutor, on to debate Aviva Fry.
Lionel. As in, like, little Lionel. The pickle jar man. Pickles Wilson. Lionel. Gosh. Love to get in the ring with Lionel. Love to. Alex, if you need somebody else to come in and step in and do the debate with Lionel, let me know.
Be on with me today. He's out with his wife, busy. I get it, but I'm trying to line them up to debate in the next few days because I got a Sunday live show. I got weekday shows. I mean, I'm on 7 days a week, as you know, or a lot of you know. You can find the feed at noon today Central, 1 p.m. Eastern at Real Alex Jones on X. And on rumble.com/Alex Jones Show Live, and our new news site, AlexJonesLive.com/show has all the feeds, but it's also on the front page of AlexJonesLive.com. But for all of you criticizing me and yelling at me and calling me a traitor, that's not going to make me go along with your official story. Because we know the official story isn't true. We know that so-called confession.
All right, so the video is, this is why Candace Owens was the winner of the debate yesterday, and all we've gotten is like a few appeals to emotion here, and we've got the thing at the end about the charges and everything. It doesn't actually, it's not pertinent to the subject of the debate, though, like of the thing that they were trying to argue. You can definitely, like, I'd just grant that Candace Owens won that exchange for sure. And in terms of like optics and debate acumen and everything, sure, she won that moment of the debate. You'll give it to her. But how does that actually contribute to the substance of the debate, which is which side has more evidence? Which side has more overwhelming evidence? That's what the debate was about.
Looks like it was written by ChatGPT. Then when I saw his boyfriend, looks like something out of Manchurian Candidate 101. I've seen a lot of it. It's looking like, from the videos we've seen, that he was on the scene. And it's just a black hole, though. What? And his boyfriend has been given immunity and is now testifying against him. And then Tyler Robinson looks like...
So, I mean... This is not very good for Alex Jones because he's basically doing the whole feelings thing. How I feel, my feelings. I felt like he looked like this. When I saw him, he gave me this gut intuition. It's, yeah, very female coded. It's actually concerning to me when I look at it and I see how sort of female-coded our discourse has got. And I think that this is largely to do with the influx of women, because these women are all up in the comments and on Twitter and everything, tone policing all of the guys. And then the barrage is so strong that a lot of people are falling for this, and they're sort of like going along with this female-coded messaging of, oh, he gave me this feeling and this vibe. And like my mummy intuitions and red flags were just going crazy when I saw him. He looked like X and Y. It's like, when are we going to get back to reality here? And there's some good ex-posts that I will share regarding this.
He's been under electroshock, looks like a classic Manchurian candidate. And if you don't know the past of this, and Jolyon West, the deputy head of MK Ultra, being the doctor for Sirhan and Jack Ruby and Tim McVeigh and on and on and on, and the Unabomber being CIA mind control, that's declassified. And if you haven't been through show trials where you're found liable, civilly guilty, and then HBO produces them, and you're in the Truman Show, and I mean, I knew we had a corrupt system.
I mean, we'd all be open to that sort of information. It's not, out of the bounds of possibility for there to be some sort of a government cover-up, for sure. And especially with these government programs, MK Ultra, they do exist. That is true. And there are, theories like, for example, the JFK assassination and everything, and the RFK assassination that. People think that this was a part of some sort of a government cover-up, sure, but we just need evidence from how you get to your vibes and intuitions about Tyler Robinson's trans furry boyfriend, and then how we get to the government program. If there's a logical chain that we can follow, and the circumstantial evidence leads us to think that that could be the case, then I'd be open to hearing the information and open to changing my mind about it, for sure. But that was a completely illogical leap that he just did. I felt like he was a Manchurian candidate, and when I looked at him, he gave me these vibes, and my vibes were totally off. And then this sort of thing has happened in the past, and it's declassified. It's like, okay, but how do we get from A to Z here is what we need to know.
And I didn't figure out to the second trial that it was totally scripted, because I looked over when I'm up there testifying, and the judge had the same script that the other judge had with the things I couldn't say and things I couldn't do, and it was the same typing, the same heading. And because you're sitting up there and there's the judge like 4 feet, 5 feet away, and I'm going, what the hell? That was my Truman Show moment. I'm like, this is worse than I thought. I mean, sure, they had HBO putting powder on the judges, and they were all blitzing, and the judge in Austin walked the red carpet at South by Southwest. She was the star of the movie. I mean, once you've experienced this, maybe I'm a little biased, but I just don't trust a lot of these courts. Some courts are still not totally controlled, but a lot of them are totally rigged. It came out the CIA was involved, running all this against me with the DOJ, funding all of it. So I just don't trust this when it's not even a grand jury, but it's the prosecutors themselves. So the whole thing's falling apart. That doesn't mean every theory out there is true. It doesn't mean that. It just means the public has lost trust in the system, and that's why this is the way this is. But me saying she won the debate, that's my opinion. I think most people agree with me from what I've seen. It doesn't mean that we know exactly what happened. And that's where I stand. I have the Candace Owens crowd, criticizing me because I don't just buy into everything that gets looked at or questioned. And I've debunked a lot of it. And then I've got, the crowd over there that just absolutely buys the official story. And that's a load of crap. I mean, I talked to high-level TPUSA and said, why is Akash Patel going after the 10 post in the town in the 3 days before that he'll be dead when he comes here? 6 of them the day before, he'll be dead tomorrow. And then right after he's dead, see, we told you. What about George Zinn jumping up? I did it instantly, so the shooter could get away, supposedly. And then as soon as the shot goes off, they all turn around and go, yay, a bunch of them, good job. Yeah, but they were like...
This is Jimmy Dore logic here, unfortunately, guys. Always been a fan of Alex Jones, but this is Jimmy Dore logic that we're looking at.
Knew something was about to happen. And Patel told high-level folks at TPUSA, I talked to 2 different people, who talked to him, we know they were probably involved. We can't prove it, so we're just gonna go after Tyler Robinson. So I don't want to hear it. It's better that 10 guilty men go free than 1 innocent man go to prison. And my point on that is that's an old maxim of jurisprudence and justice. If it's being rigged, why do you need to rig it if it's Tyler Robinson? Okay, and maybe he's involved. Maybe he did do it. I mean, maybe he had a different rifle. It wasn't that 30-06. You could have a red dot and it looks like something's unfolded. Some type of
anything about the debate, the points of the debate, rather than just all the questions that you've got? Sure. Questions, fine. You've got lots of questions, lots of things that make sense. Fine. Grant it all. do your investigation, broadcast about it until you go blue in the face, like I said. Fine, fine, fine. But the debate, the alternative theories, is he going to mention it? The lack of evidence.
Compact rifle. And then if it was 5.56 or 223, that could have happened. Though it's a larger wound for that type of bullets. It looks almost like an exit wound. But see, you can debate this all day long. We don't know the truth. Nobody except those that did it. And, the TP.
Can someone put that on a t-shirt for me?
Know the truth. Nobody except those that did it.
Nobody except those that did it. Nobody except those that did it. I think we can end the broadcast here, guys. Nobody but those who did it. Fuck, okay. That was profound.
And, the TPUSA got deeper into this by saying, yeah, he wasn't against Israel. He wasn't breaking with Israel. He wasn't breaking with Jewish donors. He told me he was doing that in months before. He was sick of Israel trying to bully us into war. He called me and thanked me for standing up against the war during Midnight Hammer. And then all his text messages got released where he was doing that. So I'm not saying Israel did it. I'm just saying all the super defense of Israel and saying we're all wrong for looking at it when Israel's a prime suspect. But the left said they were going to kill him, and then they celebrated it. So they're suspects.
What? Wait, what?
But the left said they were going to kill him, and then they celebrated it. So they're suspects.
Yeah. Okay. They are suspects. Yeah, prime suspects. And he said that he was scared that they were going to kill him as well.
The problem is because you have a cover-up, you don't know the truth because you can't trust it. And no one can deny there is a cover-up. No one can deny this stinks to high heaven. I'll be on the air at noon today Central. Alex Jones on X and AlexJonesLive.com. And
Whew, that was a tough listen. Ad says, none of us have a problem picking apart the narrative. Lol, bruh, then why are you kvetching about Candace? I think that we've explained it numerous times on here, and I don't know if I might sound like a bit of a broken record if I say it again, but like we said, pick apart the narrative all you want, but then it's the other claims that they're making that are the problem, okay? And if you want to make other claims about other people who have done it, who are involved, which she's done on many different occasions, then you have to have some evidence for that. That's where we're at. Martin says for 5, good work, bro. Thank you very much. 20 from Louisiana Stu says, Andrew gives her $300K. She turns down Rogan. She makes him come to her house, then proceeds to not defend any of her evidence per the contract and says, watch my video, bro, and my intuition. PB did an awful job, period. Look, I do agree with that. Darren says, did Candace ever argue why she thought he was a patsy? That was her position, correct? Yeah, I mean, I think that she was basically trying to argue that because of a bunch of questions she's got and circumstantial evidence that she believes that he was a patsy because she doesn't believe the official narrative. She went with the fingerprints being degraded on the rifle, and she attacked that point hard because, look, to be fair, if you're going to attack a point, any of the other of the evidence points, if it's not going to be the text messages that you attack, it's not going to be, the fact that he was seen on campus and everything. It can't be the timeline because that was pretty much wrong. The one bit that she was actually probably wise to attack would have been that particular part of the story. So, yeah, I think that was her main position. That's why the debate stayed in that tug of war for a little while. Beaten Cheeks says for 50. Thank you, Beaten Cheeks. Says, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, make claims, and if anyone dares to ask me to defend my claims, I will block you if you don't understand that my feeling is evidence-based of how I am feeling. Believe me or you are an Israel TPUSA shill. Exactly. Thank you for the 50. The crime scene was paved over 3 days later. It takes 1 to 2 days normally for a forensics to wrap up a crime scene. Not a valid criticism of the case. Yeah, I don't think it's valid either. Okay, so if someone asks you what Epstein was being charged with, well, you can't say he's guilty because the charge is trafficking of minors. That's their logic. And you say, yeah, I get it. Bravo. It makes me sick how she says his name like he was a brother. He couldn't stand her. And ask Andrew if he could sense the evil sitting across from him. Lee says, Jake, love your stuff. It seemed as if it's just a lack of IQ or a bias, closed-minded people like Sewing Circle Christians who can't accept the truth. It's a sunk cost fallacy, and it's going to age pretty poorly for them. And look, like I said before, we're all open to new information here. That's not the problem. We're all certainly open to new information, and if they can produce it, and if someone can come out and do a debate about this and say, yeah, look, I do have positive evidence. Here's the positive evidence that actually affirms what I'm saying. Or if they can say, no, we don't have positive evidence, but we have a bunch of circumstantial evidence, and this is why I'm connecting the dot. I'm not sure about anything. I'm like 60% sure rather than 100% sure. Then you can have a reasoned debate about these sorts of things. But Candace's pride just got in the way. She's 100% sure it's not him, but she has no evidence. You need to close that gap if you're going to do the debates. Last Blood Vessel says, we know who did it. Is there an echo chamber in here? Beaten Cheeks for 10 says, FYI, my Twitter got suspended for 90 days yesterday after I went viral by SSR women and low T-boys. Actually religious. Candace took 300 Gs from TPUSA employee. She now therefore works for TPUSA and is a culprit in her own conspiracy. That's pretty funny. If Andrew did get it from TPUSA like they're saying, then Candace just took TPUSA money. Again. All right. Scrolling down. Let's read out some high IQ takes here. So Nick Matau posted this here. This is like a 1 minute clip. One of the better moments from the debate.
Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you call them
literally
conspiracy
what I'm trying
theorists.
to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
Yeah, I would. I'm sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing, but it was close.
Doesn't remember it, guys. If that's the standard, if people don't remember certain parts of the case, then wow, she lost right there.
Yeah,
if
I think that's not right.
One Tyler's messages that says it's not hearsay, but first go to what Candace is asking about Skylar. I think you have it. You just text me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen, thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I think that's not right. I think that's not right.
So Nick Mattel posts that, and then Asmongold comes in and says, Candace Owens is an artard. Wait for it. And anyone who takes her seriously is artarded. Her role is contributing to the collective misdirection away from existential threat of terrorist leftists should not be forgotten. A malignant and destructive force worthless. Dialectically challenged here says, the Andrew Wilson versus Candace debate is a pretty good litmus test for who has a below 80 IQ or an above 80 IQ. Below 80, you probably think that Candace won. Above 80, you probably think that Andrew won. Pretty much, guys. Like, if you have any idea what you're looking at whatsoever. And the moderate case here, let me actually try and find some other tweets by this guy. But he said, if you watched the debate and came away thinking Candace made more of a reasonable case than the evidence showing Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, then one of two things is true. You're willfully ignorant, or you have completely lost the ability to evaluate evidence rationally, meaning you are low IQ. There is no serious third option. Pretty much would agree with that. What else did he say? He made some good tweets in which I liked. Where is it? Here we go. He said, anyone who understands logical chains, burden of proof, and basic evidentiary standards can see that Candace has been getting dismantled, often by her own admissions. What's really being exposed here, Candace? It's how many people have no idea what actually constitutes evidence. A suspicion is not proof. An unanswered question is not proof. A coincidence is not proof. Stacking weak claims on top of each other does not create a strong case. That's the standard Candace has abused for months whilst implicating people in Charlie's death. The debate is exposing her, but it's also exposing how dangerously low the public's evidentiary standards have become. Definitely, yeah. And I think that a lot of this sort of comes from basically just being TikTok and Instagram brained, if I'm honest. A lot of people will view the clips and the tweets, and they'll sort of, like I said, it's very woman-coded. They will interpret the debate and interpret the evidence that was on display through the lens of how they feel, and then they'll project how they feel into the world. How they feel will come out of their mouth hole. And it is quite concerning because all the people who are saying, oh, well, she won because she really clapped back at him and everything. I mean, yeah, like a basic fundamental lack of understanding of like what constitutes as evidence. So it is very much concerning for sure. Looks like I already had it saved there. Beardson said Andrew Wilson won and it's not even close. So true. You guys want to see Myron reacting to Andrew saying all women are...
Oh, level out, come on!
Oh, the women are not happy about this one.
You explain how you developed your evidence, your positive evidence for the fact that Erica was retarded?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
I just think all women are retarded.
Oh, so you're allowed to just say stuff. Who knew? So, and
You
what,
just
and by
asked
the way,
me.
and
Like,
what,
what-
and what dramatically transformed your opinion? You explain how
Oh, dear. You love to see it. Metatron, another smart guy, another man who is very capable of critical thinking. I've been watching his channel for a few years. Says Andrew Wilson objectively won the debate. Everything else is cope. Would agree. I didn't actually watch what Alex Stein said, but I did save it. He said that the true loser of this debate was Charlie. Let's see what he said.
True loser of this debate was Charlie. Charlie lost in this debate. Watching this debate, the only thing that I can deduce is that Andrew Wilson was not the winner, Candace Owens was not the winner, and the true loser of this debate was Charlie. Charlie lost in this debate because we lost an American hero, we lost a future president, and he knew that he was in the crosshairs, not metaphorically, but literally, and I just hope that we do get justice, and I hope that everything comes to light, and I want to have a positive outlook like that's going to happen, but I've lost a lot of faith in the system, and I don't know if this debate really changes the narrative whatsoever. It's just people are going to believe whatever they believe before they watch it, and it probably just going to confirm their biases. So we lost an American hero. It makes me incredibly sad to think that Charlie basically predicted his death, and the only person that lost this debate was Charlie. Ooh, he's the glue that was keeping the Conservative Party together.
I mean, I like Alex Stein, but that doesn't really make sense. Doesn't really make sense. I don't really get what his point is there. He's saying that Charlie, like he just said, he wants everything to come to light. He wants all the evidence to come to light and everything. But then Charlie Kirk lost the debate, so like, I don't really get it. Kind of just like a little bit of a nothing burger, if I'm honest. A little bit of a nothing burger. We had JF Gariepi, a little bit too long to sort of play. We can play Sneeko next, but Fuentes here said the debate was basically unwatchable. I kind of agree with that, to be honest. But what is truly striking is how Charlie Kirk's death has become a background character in the endless soap opera about his own murder. The story now revolves around the raging narcissist Candace Owens and the mass psychosis she has induced. And then she said, in other words, you publicly said you were backing Andrew Wilson and are now coping with the fact that he lost badly. Fuentes then says, I'd say it's for certainly a win that you pocketed another $300K plus AdSense money, plus all of the ad money, before Tyler Robinson is for certainly going to be found guilty and hopefully executed. A fitting end to the most successful political grift of all time besides Trump. And he posted this from 2025 where Candace said, Charlie died, but Nick's the victim. Just shut up, Nick. Stop grifting off his death. Just shut up, you perpetual victim. Didn't age the best, did it? Crowder agrees with this take.
Next chat.
All right, real quick, they did just send in a tweet from Nick Fuentes, if we want to read that.
Okay.
Oh.
If you can't, it says that debate was basically unwatchable. But what is truly striking is how Charlie Kirk has become a background character in the endless soap opera about his own murder. The story now revolves around the raging narcissist Candace Owens and the mass psychosis she has induced.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. We also had a conversation today, like, well, how somber should this tone be because there was a guy who was assassinated, and it's like, well, that's not in our control because Candace has turned it into a circus, and the only way to deal with a circus is to mock it. So yeah, I think Nick makes a good point there. It doesn't mean I agree with him on everything, but credit where it's due. Next chat.
All right.
Sneeko praises Candace Owens. Let's see what Sneeko's take was here, guys. Another one who really is just totally logical. I tweeted this morning that this is your brain on Islam.
Candace Owens this morning, she woke up 7 months pregnant in her room upstairs. She walks down to the living room. She pockets $100K from Whitey.
300.
That funneled
plus AdSense plus ads
through 8-pack through the Yehudi. Catches a body and walks back upstairs. Okay, I'm spamming that, but imagine that. That was in her home. That was in her living room. Walked downstairs, took $100K, caught a body up pole. Gra. At the Kufar, at the Feds, at APAC, at Turning Point. But she slid for Kirk, for Charlie, one of her best friends. Changed the conversation forever and walked back upstairs. Gangster. That's gangster, bro.
I genuinely think that this guy would basically do anything for clout at this stage. Remember when he was like hanging off the Tate brothers' nuts when they were really famous, going to their place in Romania and whatever else happened there? Do you guys remember that? Hanging off their nuts. And then he's hanging off Kanye's nuts when Kanye was really popular, and then Fuentes as well. And now Candace, because he sees where the winds are blowing. He sees who's popular, who's getting all the views. And have a look at this simpery. This is something else.
Okay, the Candace's chat's so funny too. I love her audience. It's like the Candace Queens. Love Candace. Give Candace her crown. We love you, Candace.
This might be one of the gayest things I've ever seen. Now, I'm not saying that Sneeko is...
Why are you gay? You are gay.
I'm not saying for certain. But at this stage, I'm not sure he's doing a great job of beating the charges.
And his heart.
Let's let that one more time. Wait.
Love Candace. Give Candace her crown. We love you, Candace.
Guys.
Candace heart.
This is him, by the way, trying to grift and trying to like siphon off some of her audience and make sure that they all come and watch him now, because he understands that this is a massive female audience here. And if he appeals to this and says how much he loves all of the Candace Queens, and they might come into his chat and he might get more big numbers.
Andrew's acting like a child. He's a narcissist. You go.
The Candace Queens, he's a narcissist.
Girl. I know. Almost a 250,000 live. Hi, Sneeko. Who's this? Leave me alone, bro. Someone in the chat. This is not the flex he thought it would be. Okay.
Literally one of the gayest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Should we get back to some high IQ takes? Well, first we have to go through the low IQ takes. Ian Carroll said, quote, Candace had nothing is the line that they're deciding on. Since it's all they've got. Clearly, Candace has an entire year of content so compelling that they're losing their minds over how many people find her claims, evidence, and discussion worth listening to. That's why Andrew was there making a fool of himself today. It was Andrew's job to debunk it. Look how many people watch Master. Look how many people in Master's audience. Instead of it becoming quite clear that Andrew doesn't know much about the case or Candace's claims or the evidence or even the charges in the case, but let's just go with Candace has nothing. What does she have, Ian? Great, then leave her alone and go back to your life. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Obviously, wouldn't be threatening to anyone and certainly wouldn't need a multi-million-dollar propaganda campaign to discredit it. Leave her alone. High IQ take here, guys. From this guy, Nom de Plume. I think
So
that's
if you're
his real X account.
Thing like me, and you tried to sit down and watch that so-called debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson today, you would have walked away from that with one understanding of this entire situation. Candace Owens is dumb. She's just not smart. And she's basing her entire social media presence, the entire grift, on one simple fact. She does not understand how anything works. Like even at a basic level, has zero understanding of how this stuff works. Let me give you an example. Candace Owens, to refute Andrew Wilson's claims that there's a preponderance of evidence and overwhelming evidence, she claims that the entire preliminary hearing was an 1102 hearing, which means hearsay is allowed. Candace's position is that every piece of evidence that was introduced in that hearing, therefore, is hearsay. She was trying to claim that forensics evidence, DNA evidence, fingerprint evidence is all just hearsay because it's an 1102 hearing. No, dummy. It just means that an 1102 hearing will allow hearsay to be introduced when trying to determine if there's probable cause. Doesn't mean every piece of evidence introduced is probable cause, because forensic analysis, and this was the other one that just infuriated me, forensic analysis of Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson's phones or devices, where she claims that there's no evidence that the text message between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs was ever actually sent from his device, because she said, my husband could send a text on my behalf from a computer with my Apple ID. The problem with that, because again, she's a moron, is that she doesn't understand the rules of evidence. If you were going to do a forensic analysis of a device, especially an iPhone, it is going to tell you very specifically if a text message was originated from a phone, if it went through a cell tower. You could probably even call up the records of the cell tower itself to say, did this packet or this series of packets traverse this cell tower, which in fact they can do, and they did do. And more importantly, not just was the text message originated from this device, those forensic tools can tell you if it was manually, physically inputted into the device from the device's keyboard, which is what the forensic report will say. Rules of evidence will require that hashing technology is used, that cryptographic technology, and a whole slew of other forensically certified pieces of data from that analysis are required before it's even accepted into evidence. And Candace Owens pretends like she doesn't understand any of that, and she's based her entire grift on the fact that this is all just hearsay up to this point. No, it's actually evidence, and you're too stupid to understand it.
All right. So I'm assuming that they've got all of that in evidence and that there won't really be any questions about who sent the text because of all of that information. All right, where can we go from here? I think that these are good ones here. Wait for it. Beardson. Enjoy this guy's commentary.
Do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions.
She signed an NDA because they threatened to sue her.
What does that
hypothetical.
mean? Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right?
She
and
sat
the
down
fact that
and
was never
Erica
even
Kirk
considered.
bent her
That
over
like I
the
said
fucking
earlier, the
table.
backpack was returned.
How do you know that was never considered?
because they gave back the backpack, as just one example. They gave back the backpack. They gave back the.
Has he got?
That
No,
doesn't
he's
show a conspiracy.
And
well,
you know
I mean,
me.
it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't
doing
just
a
hold things
decent
up
job.
for a
Yeah,
second.
They
Not a
ruled
great
them
job.
out as suspects.
He's doing a decent job. He's gotten her in a couple
I'm not
things.
comfortable with that investigation. It's a
Whereas
pretty big
I'm actually
organization. There's
impressed a
$100
little
million incentive. People, this is
What $100 million incentive?
what I'm saying is his organization, like it had grown to, I think it was 100 million.
Plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want to factor
Yeah,
in,
but
that's
what was
fine.
the-
Your
what-
team wants to play a video, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
There's a video they want to play of.
May, which is fortunately, how could you sit up? That right there.
Case that even if Eric Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit
we know that
in
in
his
80%
death?
of murders, it's someone they know she literally
say
cannot
complicit in
exist
death.
outside of dogma and
You added those
heuristics.
two
It's
words.
insane
Okay,
how
so
dumb
what's
she
she
is,
complicit
man.
in?
Yes.
Agreed.
So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to
Okay,
come
well,
in
tell
debate.
me,
So
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping.
A lot of high IQers on this side, guys. I want to just let you guys know that we do have the Stream Elements link pinned in the top of the chat here. So if you guys want to do text to speech, it's 20 and up on Stream Elements over there for text to speech, and it comes straight through if you guys want to have got something particularly pertinent to say. Roar over here says, the P Constitution segment. Wow, what an idiot. What an idiot. Red Fox with a huge 100. Appreciate that, Red Fox. Says, most of these Candace fans cannot do math or statistics. PBD poll showed 20% swing in favor of Andrew Wilson. Gotta love how the cope is using polls and community notes as if that's evidence. This was the entire point in the debate. Candace had no evidence. 5 from Kibblewibble says, canned ass got to be paid for taking rumor and shady claims as truth only to walk them back. That's been me for 40 years and I'm still broke. Unfair. BB the Aussie comes in and says, the Candy Clown show must go on. Jake vs. Sneeko debate coming up. I'd love to see it for sure. If Sneeko would ever be down for it, then you best believe I would be too. What's up, Jake? Just tuning in. Candace failed terribly. Anyone stating otherwise is an effing moron. Can't help but agree with you there about that one. So Grimaldus here says Fuentes was spot on about Candace.
I don't know how people watch it. She's the dumbest, most dishonest person I've ever seen. I don't know how anybody watches that shit. That's why anti-Semitism is really gate-kept for white people, I guess. Because you put it in the hands of somebody like that, and it's all over the place. It's beekeeping conspiracies. It's Brigitte Macron, transgenders, energy weapons, trap doors. Holy. I mean, she's given black anti-Semites a bad name. Thank God we have people like Myron. Thank God you actually have intelligent black critics of Israel, we'll call them, because she is just giving us a bad name. Ben Shapiro, can you take her back, please? Ben Shapiro, if you can hear me, please take Candace back. Please, we don't want her. We don't want her. You can keep her. I'll say this, he was right about her. Because you know what Shapiro said about Candace Owens first? Before he called her an anti-Semite, he said she was a faux sophisticate. Nail on the head, linguistic precision. He said she's a faux sophisticate. If that isn't nail on the head, and I don't like Ben Shapiro, I think he's filth, but Shapiro was right about Candace Owens. You can keep her. She's an idiot. She made them look bad. She's making us look bad. She could go on transgender Beekeeper Island. I have just had it. I am just straight up anti. For a long time, I said, I don't know, she's doing a lot of good. She is just making any legitimate critic of Israel look like an idiot.
A fair point. Now, I got to agree with this take over here. But Before the debate, you guys remember, if you were in the chat here, that we were discussing all about the moderators, my predictions for who might be moderator, etc. And I said that Tim Gordon would have been good, still stand by that, and that Myron would have been good. I thought Knowles would have been good, but I had questions about PBD. Initially, my question marks about PBD was that he would talk too much. And there was one section where he came in and started asking them about, like, asking Candace about double dates and shit like that, which I thought was a little bit odd and unnecessary. But the problem ended up being that he didn't do anything. He didn't talk enough. You needed a moderator who was like, all right, can we stay on topic of the debate? Can you actually provide any evidence? Can we stop with the prattle? Can you land the plane? Maybe do some timed responses? And I have to kind of agree with Myron's take here.
Here's my thoughts on it so far on this debate. They're going into topics that don't really matter. Like they're debating certain topics that I don't think matter like that. Like well, you said this and you said that and you said this. And let's forget all the stuff, but let's forget all the stuff that they said before on Twitter with each other or what they might have or might not said to each other. Let's focus on what they're going to say right here, right now. I think that the debate is going into certain realms it doesn't need to go into. And I think this is where Patrick needs to step in. And I think they need to bring the time rounds, dude. I think they need to bring this back and forth is not it, dude. It's not it. Okay. Some people might agree with that. Some people might not. I think the time rounds is not good. Sorry, I think the back and forth is not good. It should be time rounds. It should be first, what do you think happened on that day? Get it from both of them. 2, okay. Give your argument as to why you think the other's argument is weak, right? Because once both parties give their stances, now we have something to actual debate from, right? Because we don't fully know Candace's position, right? And we don't have Andrew's full position too. Now Andrew does align more with the official narrative, right? But we don't know everything. We don't know what he believes, what he doesn't believe from the official narrative. We don't know, and we don't know what Candace thinks. We just know, the only thing we know from watching this debate right now, from a viewer standpoint, is that she doesn't think he was shot by a 30-06, right? And that's fine, but let's go through everything, right? From what she thinks happened on that day, all the way up until the shooting, how he turned himself in, all that stuff. We don't know. So that's one thing, and that's why I think time rounds is the best way to do it, dude. This free flow type debate is good at the end. Once we have both of their arguments established, their rebuttals established, then this free flow type thing can work. But right now...
That's a good point as well. Having some timed rebuttals would have been good. Because they do get into the free flow and they get sort of like a little bit tied down into the weeds. If you could have had timed responses, all right, opening statement, all right, now you respond for a time period, you respond for a time period, you can cede your time if you'd like to, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It doesn't allow for people to prattle on too much. But actually... I think that was sort of Andrew's plan going in. When after it, he was with Crowder there, which we've got that clip, by the way, we'll play it next, where he was interviewed by Crowder after and basically said that it was Operation Let Her Speak, let her contradict herself, let her walk herself into a bunch of traps. So I don't think he minded too much about that.
I think this is extremely chaotic. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but I think this is very chaotic, this debate right now. They're going into hearsay this, hearsay that. We don't really understand whose position is what right now. They're arguing semantics. They're arguing over tweets. And I hope they're able to focus this debate back in on the actual topic. But yeah, right now they're reassessing what they're going to do here. I think they need to switch to time rounds immediately. They need to switch to time rounds immediately. This back and forth shit is stupid. They need to make it timed so each party can get out what they got to say because they're wasting time on stupid things, dude. And I get it because... Look, as someone who actually debates, right, unlike a lot of fucking YouTubers, what's up happening when you're getting into a highly adversarial debate like this?
You got to give Myron props for that because he debated Nick Matau the other week, who I do believe is the strongest debater who is currently on the circuit on the pro-Israel side. And Myron came on and he did like a long debate with him. I thought Myron lost the debate pretty convincingly, but he's going up against a guy who's very, very, very good at what he does. So, but I give him props. I mean, the balls to get in there for sure.
Right, where both parties clearly don't like each other. There's a lot of hype, etc. You cannot let them go back and forth with each other because because both parties are there to, as you guys can see, neither of them wants to concede any point. I don't know if you guys know this. When you're dealing with two people like this that are highly adversarial, neither party wants to concede anything. It's going to be very difficult to get any type of middle ground. So the only way that you do debates like this is you have to have time rounds so both parties can say what the fuck they gotta say and the other person is forced to engage with what they say. Does that make sense? That's why time rounds are so fucking important. Pat doesn't fucking debate, so he doesn't understand this shit. If I was there, I'd be telling them, we need to go to time rounds, guys. I'm sorry. We need to go to time rounds. I know there's a lot of people watching whatever, but if you guys want to actually get all your points out and not argue about fucking Twitter, this is an extremely frustrating debate to watch because they're not conceding on anything. They can't come to middle ground, and you need to go, you say what you got to say. You make your argument. Then they make their argument uninterrupted. Let the audience decide who makes a stronger argument. Then at the end, you guys can actually go back and forth. And by the way, the reason why they brought PBD in as the intermediary is because his channel's bigger than mine. That's why.
I mean, to add to the sort of magnitude of the event, that sort of makes sense as to why he was brought in.
I'm starting to realize that's why, because I didn't realize he was going to stream it on his channel too. It was a business move, which I'm not mad about, by the way. I'm not offended by it at all. But that's why. A lot of you guys said, yo, why didn't you moderate? It's simply because he has a 2 million subscriber channel.
Yep. So moving on now to the post debate.
There we go. There.
Andrew had appeared on Crowd Up.
There he is. Mr. Wilson, I'm sure you're tired.
Just before we get into that, though, a very, very generous 110 euros comes in from Cloud Striffenel. Is it German? Says, Jake, just keep it up. Not one step back. PBD fumbled the ball. He didn't moderate. It was messed up. Yeah. I don't know if he necessarily fumbled the ball. Like, I don't know if he necessarily was in the wrong. But I just thought that the style of moderation could have been better, and it's kind of incumbent upon the debaters to choose that. So, in my opinion, Andrew and Candace are kind of the ones who fumbled there in the moderator that they chose.
Thank you for taking the time.
But it's their strategy, and they both had their various strategies, and they came to that conclusion, so whatever.
What up, Steven? How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, of course.
We have the drinking game going, and it's been tough. I'm not going to lie to you. What are your thoughts? I'm surprised you didn't stay by to have drinks with her and her hyperly masculine husband, Mr. Farmer. So since you're leaving the homestead, you're just heading right back. You're leaving?
No. We're staying another night. The debate goals, every single one of them was accomplished. So it was, we knew going in it would be Operation Let Her Speak, and we knew that she'd contradict herself, and we knew that she would have zero evidence. And all of that was accomplished.
Yeah, well,
I wish we could have gotten into a lot more of it, but it was very obvious to everybody there that if she was getting pushed any harder than she was, that she was going to just, we weren't going to get anywhere.
I got that notion as well, that she was so combative about it. Go, well, I'm going to investigate, I'm going to cross-examine your claims now. Oh, you're not my dad, blah, blah, blah. But, she has agreed to it, and she's under contract, so, like, you're well within your rights to be able to question her and question her as robustly as you would like. So, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a bit more blood sports, but
that's actually a question that I had, because there were the one criticism that I would have, and I know, you'll say I'm a dick and I'm say you're a dick, is at the end I would have rapid fired like, okay, how about the Mormon communists training him? But it seemed like, and I've had to do this with some conversations or debates, you guys were concerned that she might just throw the table over if you went a little too aggressively.
Right. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So the major points of contention that we got was that she had no evidence whatsoever. And all the claims that she had made about Erica Kirk at TPUSA were basically tongue-in-cheek, according to her. She doesn't even mean them. She has no evidence for her steakhouse, no evidence for her timeline, no evidence that there's a patsy whatsoever. And all of her claims that she made were basically, we were just funning.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you probably didn't see, because, by the way, I hate to tell you this, but we had to use Candace's stream from YouTube because yours was like 20 seconds later and people were complaining.
No problem.
But we've been sending people to the Give, Send, Go. And by the way, also we have Jesse's going to be fired because our YouTube doesn't have premium, so there were ads running. So someone's going to be fired. That makes you feel good because we're both brothers in cruelty.
Yes, 100%. I'm going to fire somebody too, just because you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we'll do.
I don't want you to get or feel in any way like you're going to one-up me here, Steve.
How about you give me I fire your guy and you fire my guy just because we throw them for a loop. Let me ask.
Mystery, you're fired.
I
did it first. You're done.
Always gotta be mystery. Poor guy. He tries his best. He's a great soldier, Mystery. He's been absolutely in the trenches on X the last few days. I've been seeing him everywhere.
You can't
got one
fire.
up.
You can't fire Gerald though because he's so big and athletic and it's intimidating. One quick question:
True.
Did they Nixon JFK you? Because she has a full stylist and makeup crew. Did they give you makeup and no. You looked a little
I
bit.
would have refused.
You looked a little
I
bit
would've
shiny.
refused it.
You looked a
Yeah, I
little
would've
shiny.
refused it.
You looked a little
Yeah.
shiny.
Yeah, it looked a little shiny. It happens. But yeah, I mean, look.
Does she
they
have
everything.
Hakeem Olajuwon hands in real life?
What the hell is that? The
basketball player.
Large hands.
Yeah. No, she doesn't.
Okay, all right. Go ahead with your
doesn't.
valid
She's
point.
small.
I'm being childish and stupid.
Yeah.
No, go ahead with your valid
That's
point. I was
fair.
just being childish and stupid because we've had the drinking game. Please, give it to me.
Nothing. The thing is like, we knew that we were probably only going to get 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Of actual runtime. We knew that was all we were going to get. That's.
So, guys, apparently we've got a little bit of cope from Project Constitution that's being sent over to me shortly. Also like to say congratulations to Red Fox, ladies and gentlemen, who's been added as a new moderator. Hold on a second. Red Fox, mod on the channel, absolutely one of the best soldiers that we've got. Helps me strengthen my arguments a lot of the time. A Chad in person as well. Fantastic bloke in person too. Gotta love Red Fox. But when we get this cope from Project Constitution, we're going to be playing it right here. Cloud Strife NL, Dutch, my friend, but PBD let her prattle. That's what I meant with that. He should have cut her off and he shouldn't have asked the question of the double dates. It was ridiculous. Completely agree with that. Yeah. The prattle was just outrageous, but thank you very much. Very, very generous of you there. 55 euros and 110. So Cloud Strife NL, I can actually count to 10 in Dutch. I'll do it for you because of the super chats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, but we're going to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? I know, man of many talents, man of many talents. We was pyramids and shit. It says the only thing I was highly confused about was how quick this was put together. I wish there was more prep time. True. Would have been good.
That's why I moved very quickly. Like, hey, you can interrogate my claims as much as you want for the hour and a half, but I was very adamant that we got the last hour and a half of actual runtime so that I could get into her claims. So I know that this ran a long time. People from their end, they think it was like 5 hours, but with all the ads and breaks and everything else, it was actually only like 3.5.
Ah, shut the fuck up. They didn't have ads. They just had "we're coming back," and we actually had ads. We actually had commercials. She just wants the money, and she doesn't even put ads in there. I wanted to ask you 2 things. So one, and this is actually important. We all know that there are people who will agree with you. And by the way, PBD's crowd mostly thought you won. We'll bring up our own poll. But you know that there are people who will already agree with you no matter what, people who will agree with her no matter what. Then there are some who have ears to hear, eyes to see. How do you think that needle will be moved from today?
I think it's the beginning of a snowball effect.
Okay.
So now
we're kind of seeing that as well, by the way, guys. I mean, I've been slightly more white-pilled, actually, because I've been seeing a lot of people doing posts on X about the evidentiary standard here. And that's been kind of cool to see because, you know, people are taking note here and saying, hey, where's the evidence? Like, so it is, you know, white-pilling in that way, that's for sure.
now that she's been challenged, I think, and had to give an accounting for the evidence, did a very poor job. I think that more of them will feel compelled to do more of these debates, or at least I'm hoping so. And I think that that'll create the snowball effect. At least that's what I'm hoping. But ultimately, there wasn't a need to push back too much on too many things because she just admitted that she didn't have any evidence for anything.
Well,
So,
that
like,
was.
where do you go from there? You're like, hey, do you have any evidence for that? And they're like, no.
Here's where I go from
It's
there.
like,
Here's where I go from there, because she named like Valhalla, she named a few people. Andrew, this is important going forward, and I mean this. anyone who's going to present these conspiracies, they need a better champion. Because there are people online who will tell you why they believe that Israel and or France took out Charlie Kirk. There are people online who will show you with red yarn why Erica Kirk did it. She didn't, and she backed away from it. So in other words, if people out there are going, we're with you, Candace, go Max, they need a new champion because she absolutely did cower back.
Yeah, she went back on all of her claims. And so, like, where do you go from there? In other words, there was nowhere I needed to go to demonstrate what it was I was trying to demonstrate, which is that these people have lots and lots of claims, and the second they're confronted with them, they back off on all of them. Every single time. Her sources, what a joke that was. My sources told me. Well, what validates your sources? The fact that I've released some, footage and stuff.
Yeah.
How would that validate your sources in these things? That makes no sense at all. These, I think ultimately, I'm sure that there's going to be some negative clips about me, especially pushed by the Owens people. But ultimately,
I'm going to do some negative clips on you, but that's just for funsies.
Of course. But ultimately, she didn't have anything. She had nothing. She literally had nothing. And so what made this an easy debate for me was that she didn't fucking have nothing. Like, what do you want me to do? You don't have anything.
Yeah. I will say the one thing, if you were to give her credit for anything, what would you give her credit for? I have one and only one.
I think that she got a gotcha at the end. I will be fair with that was a gotcha at the end, though I think it wasn't a very good one.
The charges?
What's that?
Do you mean the gotcha, the charges?
Yeah. And then
that's what I wrote down too, yeah.
Yeah, that was it, though. I really don't think I made a single mistake that debate. Just the gotcha at the end, but who cares? It's not even important. Ultimately, what matters is if she has any sort of evidence. So the first half of the debate, I remember laughing last night, and I was like, because the trial's not here and this and that, we're really just arguing our opinions on this evidence, right?
Sure.
Like, am I convinced by it? Yeah.
Just 1 second, guys. I need to quickly download this. All good. This video here of the cope.
Yes. Are you convinced by it? No. Great. Where do you go from there? And if that was the extent of all that anybody was talking about, nobody would care. But it's never been about that. It's always been an extensive, overarching, Israel's involved, France is involved, these various people want to kill, blah, 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 blah. And they never have any evidence for any of that. And that was what was important to demonstrate.
Well, I think it's also important to demonstrate, like we talked about this is me being selfish, but, she has called into question our actual investigative journalism, like the Covenant shooting, right, with Audrey Hale, where she said, actually, my source, I'm glad I did my due diligence, she was sexually abused. Wasn't actually true. Where she said I was a Fed, our engravings on the bullets, by the way, turned out to be true. Jay Varma, COVID architect, turned out to be true. So she calls everyone else into question when they actually have ways. There are ways of having an anonymous source and having it validated through a third party in the public eye.
Sure.
She will tell everyone who will listen that those people are Feds. But what's funny to me is, wouldn't a Fed be the most likely person to tell you there's no radical trans anything? Mr. Crowder's source saying the engravings on the bullet, that's a lie. And by the way, we've been subpoenaed by the ATF and the FBI. Wouldn't a Fed say, hey, by the way, Audrey Hale wasn't a radicalized trans shooter. She was sexually abused by a relative. So I think she's a Fed.
Yeah, well, look, and Feds often feed small amounts of true information so that they can feed false information. Like that's how, like if that was a real Fed op, this isn't a Fed op.
Because she has no true information.
Going on. Yeah, she doesn't have anything. There is no counterclaims. In other words, you can say that you don't believe the state's case.
Sure.
Fair enough. You can argue about not believing the state's case all day long. I don't even have a problem with that. My problem is that there's tons and tons of these counterclaims, and there is no evidence for any of them. And she essentially conceded that that was true on every single claim I brought up. Is there any evidence for that? Nope.
No.
Any evidence for that? Long explanation and no. Is there any evidence for that? Long explanation followed by no. Followed by no. And I pushed each time until I got to no and then moved to the next one.
I also love how
she's like a rabbit, so you can only push so far.
Wait, you push rabbits? That's just mean. I was going to say...
you do it with beagles.
And well, that's where you give them the flea helmet, the old Fauci.
That's right.
But I do that with humans too. The one thing that I did find funny is at the end, she was like, well, we agreed to have these fact checkers, but not to just take clips out of context. And again, I don't think you saw this. We ran, for example, the side-by-side of her saying, I've never criticized the outfits, and her saying, Erica, stylist, must hate her. And, it's not about that being the most important claim. It's just proving that she has no problem verifiably lying. She has no problem doing that.
Well, her whole thing was to seed doubt, right? To seed doubt with the claims of the state. And my whole point was to seed doubt with the claims of her. It's the same exact thing, right? It's just question the questioners. If it's the case that you have problems with state evidence, that's fair. But you should also have problems with the anti-evidence people as well. When they're like, hey, we can just make tons of claims and never have any evidence for any of them, that's insane. That's literally insane to me.
No,
So,
I agree with you.
I got to get rolling.
I know you
got to
go, but tell people the give, send, go.
All right. So, I mean, obviously everybody thought that the exact prediction that we all pretty much had was that after it, there was going to be no substantive disputes of the claims that were made by Andrew, but rather they would just try and circulate clips. They'd try and get a few clips and try and circulate them. That is literally exactly what happened. All right. Let's read a few of these super chats out here, and then we're going to get into the cope, because I've had the cope sent to me. I've had the Project Constitution cope sent to me, which is beautiful. Cloudstrife NL says, one more statement. I wish your friend Brian Atlas was the moderator. It was his brainchild. Anyway, Candace lost. It was disturbing. You counted correctly, my friend. If you're ever in the Netherlands or Spain, shoot me a message. We should grab a beer. And it says, first round is on you. Let's do it, bro. Let's do it. 100%. If I'm in the Netherlands, we'll get a beer. Well done, Mr. Coombe, says Osmo. Thank you. And the most interesting part is that Candy is a made woman. No need to push the agenda apart from being a girl boss and attention. Go home and spend time with your family, says BB the Aussie. All right. We have some glorious cope to watch, guys. We have some absolutely glorious cope to watch. So let's get into it, shall we?
Interaction with him, he actually sent a video or posted a video like laughing maniacally. Really weird. Like, yeah, he's a strange guy, man. Really strange guy.
Playing with the mod chat.
Yeah. And then there was another thing that I found, dude. I don't even know how to say this, to be honest, but like I was in the living room one day, and basically I was walking around, and then it was maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was thinking, afternoon. So I found my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna get some afternoon delight. Mama always said if it's right, while waiting till the middle of a cold, dark night. Sky rockets in flight, Project Constitution. Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
Yeah.
Afternoon delight.
Good one.
Afternoon delight. Project Constitution, brother. How did you not know? Did you do a basic, cursory, little bit of research, my friend?
You wouldn't give me anything. I tried.
It's got me working up an appetite, getting forward to a little afternoon delight. Oh, he's one of my best friends. I am currently live streaming. I've been shit posting about it all week. Project Constitution, walk me through how you do all of this research, my friend. Please, I'd love to know it.
Yeah, well,
thinking of you's got me working up an appetite. Looking forward to a little afternoon delight.
All right. I'm not even going to play their games. Like I said, he's a loser. I don't want anything to do with that. I do have something else. I kind of had a feeling that something might be weird about that because he was really, really strange, the whole thing.
Why did you not go for your feelings then, Project Constitution? Well, on this occasion, the story was too alluring that you didn't go with your feelings? I thought we were going with our feelings.
Was asking him for information. He really wouldn't give me any information. And then he was also weird. Like, I wanted to have a conversation with him before we started, and he didn't want to do that. Like, he was like, "Oh, well, I really can't I can't do that. I need to, I'm running late or whatever. I can't be there till right at 9 when we start. So, whatever."
Oh, you messed up, didn't you, Project Constitution? Literally, more red flags than a Chinese communist parade there. I gave you more red flags than a Chinese communist parade, my friend, and not one of them made you stop to think, maybe there could be something going on here.
It is what it is. He got me. He trolled me. Shit happens. Anyway.
I got you so good.
I do have some other information.
Someone in the chat here goes, Project Constipation. Project Constipation is perfect. I love you guys.
One thing real quick that I do have is I was sent a tip. You remember the Egyptian jet SUBTT?
To the Egyptian, no. Project Constipation, no. Look at people leaving his chat. He had like 127, and now it goes down. No, Project Constipation. No Egyptian planes now, buddy. Stick with the plot.
Let me go ahead and pull up a little something.
No Egyptian planes. Come on.
1 second.
That hurts. That hurts. That hurts, guys. Clip it and ship it, boys. Clip it and ship it, boys. Clip it and ship it. This needs to be seen by the world. Drop bears. Menthol cigarettes. Unfreaking believable. Apparently the Crucible came in and trolled him, and so did Rach.
SUBTT.
Unbelievable.
Okay,
He does
so
look like he needs
this
to, or
plane
is
right
presently
here, let me
taking
pull
a
this
shit.
up. Stop. Sheba, stop. Present.
That is a brutality.
Share
An
screen.
Absolute brutality.
Okay. The interaction with him, he actually sent a video.
Mwah. Chef's kiss, boys. That's what we're up against, by the way, guys. That's what we're up against here. That is what we are going up against, guys. But an absolute chef's kiss there. We planned it out. We didn't really have to do that much planning, because basically here was the options. Either this guy is so dumb that he's actually doing this, and he actually didn't read my comment thoroughly enough to know that it was the plot of the Bourne Identity on X, and he didn't do enough research to understand that Andrew's one of my best friends, and I've been like posting about it all week in defense of him. He didn't do enough research to understand that I was currently live streaming, even though I said I was going to be a whistleblower. And guys, wouldn't you think that perhaps he would have do enough research to at least ask himself the following question? If it is the case that I found this guy posting about it on X, right? And that's how I found him, and he's publicly posting about it. Why would he want to do a whistleblower interview? And why would he not want to do like a public interview? So there were a lot of questions there. And for the questioners, it's just, yeah. So, guys, I'm going to go watch the UFC. It's just an overwhelming victory today. Want to just go and bask in the glory of everything. Taliban Jake Syndication says JD. Clouds Strife NL says that was funny as hell. And as AW said, thank God for stupid enemies. Exactly. Gonna raid over to Jay Dyer, guys. Want to say much love to you all. Have a phenomenal Saturday night, Sunday, wherever you are. Go watch the fights maybe. And I will see you guys all later. Peace.